Welcome and thank you for joining us this afternoon for the virtual town hall meeting for faculty and staff. I'm Keith Miles, Interim Director of the Office of Communications, and I'll serve as your moderator this afternoon. FAMU President Dr. Larry Robinson is here, along with key members of the university's senior leadership team, on important topics related to navigating the rest of the semester, Thanksgiving, and plans for the spring. We received several questions in advance and want to thank you for your submissions. We'll answer as many questions as time will allow during this town hall broadcast, and some will be answered in the remarks from our panelists this afternoon. To submit a live question on Zoom, click on the Q&A icon on your screen, and if we can't get to your question, please send them to townhall@famu.edu. That's townhall@famu.edu, and we will respond with an answer. This afternoon's forum is being recorded, and it will be posted and archived at famu.edu/virtual town hall for your review on demand. Now, thank you again for joining us this afternoon. And now it is my pleasure to introduce 12th President of Florida A&M University, Dr. Larry Robinson.
Well, thanks, Keith, and hello and welcome to everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon as we share information regarding the remainder of the fall semester and our plans for the spring semester of 2021. Let me begin by saying that the health and safety of the FAMU community is our highest consideration as we make plans for the conclusion of the semester and our operations for the future. First of all, I am really proud of how many of you have taken seriously this global pandemic and have implemented the wearing of masks, washing of hands, sanitizing your workspaces, etc., as well as practicing social distancing. The results have been a low number of positive cases at FAMU, and you have shown that you're willing to do your part, and we're very, very appreciative of your efforts. Let me encourage you to continue as COVID-19 is still with us, and your efforts not only protect you, but helps keep us all safe. Since our last virtual town hall, so many positive things have happened that should make us all proud of our affiliation with Florida A&M University. Although it's done primarily through virtual means, I must commend our faculty for continuing to demonstrate your commitment to the success of our students by exploiting the tools in this new workplace environment. And I must also praise our staff for providing the training and technological resources for making this transformation possible. Every day that I arrive on campus, I am pleased to see members of our ground staff tending to the campus's welfare. It is no wonder that FAMU is ranked as the 25th most beautiful college campus in the nation by Cosmopolitan magazine. Speaking of national rankings, we all own a share of the U.S. News and World Report rankings that once again acknowledge FAMU as the highest ranked HBCU in the National Public University category. Our Board of Trustees, our students, faculty, staff, and alumni and friends should feel ecstatic about this outcome. Additionally, the university received just recently $1.5 million from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to operate our own COVID-19 testing laboratory and serve as a hub for other historically Black colleges and universities in Florida. These funds will support the operational needs to complement the donation of testing equipment and COVID-19 tests provided by Thermo Fisher, a world leader in this arena. Yeah, we received a question about what are we doing regarding social justice and diversity at Florida A&M University. And in fact, this is part of it. First of all, this Thermo Fisher initiative is part of a project that they call the JUST Initiative, named after great African-American biologist Ernest Just. The way this works is that they are, Thermo Fisher, providing a hub institution, and FAMU is among the first 6 or 7 of those, with the technological resources to conduct COVID-19 testing. And then we'll serve in Florida, for example, the 3 private institutions. That's part of our Excellence with Caring at Florida A&M University. And I must also acknowledge one of our own alums, Michael DeBose, who works at Thermo Fisher as part of all of this happening. It's interesting too that as this call goes on this afternoon, there's a call going on at the Board of Governors that's where they're discussing, their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, and our HR director and the chair of our own internal diversity and inclusion task force, Ms. Ingram, is participating in that call on our behalf. And so I want you to know that while we are contributing to the overall discussion on social justice through our actions as an institution, but we must hold ourselves accountable to the same principles as well, and we are doing just that. Many of you know too that since April the 25th, over 56,000 people have been tested at our community-based Bragg Memorial Test Site. That is part of our outreach in social justice as well. We insisted that a test site be held here on the south side of town that was accessible to people in this community. It was not limited to anyone else who might want to come and take advantage of this site. We were the first to have a site that allowed people to come without a physician's referral. They did not have to have symptoms. They could drive up or they could walk up. Part of our initiative to be responsible members of this community. And as I started, we have so many wonderful things to be proud of at Florida A&M University. We recently held a ribbon cutting ceremony at the newly opened 700-bed FAMU Towers Residence Hall. FAMU Towers represent a positive direction in residential housing at Florida A&M University, and we're extremely excited about the impact that it will have on the success of our students. I want to thank another staff member, Mr. Loris Glover, of the Title III Office, for identifying the U.S. Department of Education's HBCU Capital Financing Program as a potential funding source for the construction of the new dormitory facility. But it went beyond that. Not only were we able to construct this new facility out of those funds, we were able to also refinance the debt in our housing auxiliary to clear up other monies that we can apply to maintenance and renovation. These are the kinds of people that work at Florida A&M University, and I'm so proud of all of you. The FAMU FSU College of Engineering faculty members are part of a new Florida International University-led consortium of universities, private and public partners who received a $4.9 million grant from the Department of Energy to help fill the need for more diversity in STEM in corporate entities and other workplaces around the nation. Shonda Bernardin, a Ph.D. and associate professor in computer and electrical engineering at the college, is the principal investigator for the grant. Through Florida A&M University, about $1.5 million was awarded to the Joint College as part of this overall project. Then the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, along with the Institute of Public Health, has a major influenza campaign going on now. I participated in that event this morning and taping a video encouraging people to get flu shots this season. Because as the weather begins to turn cooler and the COVID pandemic is spiking, this is the year that you want to make sure that you and your loved ones take advantage of getting the flu shot. Immunizations have been around for a long time and are proven to be safe and help to prevent catching the flu. So support this campaign by getting your flu shots and encouraging friends and family to do the same. Finally, FAMU is host to one of the early voting centers around Leon County, which began operations on Monday morning. The campus polling place is located in the Student Union Multi-Purpose Room C, and it's open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Early voting begins on November the 1st. Election day is Tuesday, November the 3rd. However, I took advantage of early voting at the FAMU site this Monday morning. So whether via early voting, mail-in, or in person on election day itself, let me strongly encourage all of you to exercise your right to vote. because when it comes to social justice and being a responsible citizen, there's not a whole lot more we can do than take advantage of this hard-fought right to vote. So please do that at your places around the county and around the state. So with that, let me now introduce our trustee and faculty senate president, Anne Marie Cavazos. Trustee Cavazos is a professor at the FAMU College of Law who is committed to service, scholarship, and teaching. Trustee Cavazos.
Thank you, President Robinson. Good afternoon, faculty, President Robinson, Provost Eddington, staff, and honored guests. I think we all can agree that this past year has been one of the most challenging of our lifetime as educators and as staff members. In fact, the past 7 months have been, for many of us, a once-in-a-lifetime event, one that will hopefully end sooner rather than later, and one that will not soon be repeated. However, as we approach the spring semester, many of you know that the state university system challenged all universities to increase face-to-face teaching while following the CDC guidelines. FAMU has accepted the challenge and will be increasing face-to-face teaching this spring. Many faculty members and staff have expressed concerns about the private and public health implications of face-to-face instruction, along with a lack of shared governance in teaching and staffing decisions. However, our university has put in place safety protocols, and I sincerely believe that if we, the faculty and staff, abide not only with those safety protocols, but also take responsibility to do everything in our power to protect ourselves, we can have a safe and productive school year. I believe as we keep ourselves safe, our campus life and learning can continue unfettered. As I've said to you before, at the heart of any great university is a great faculty, and that is you. What you do matters. The sacrifices you make matter. This is a sacrifice not only for us and our families, but also for our students. I believe that together we can make this an outstanding year. We have an institutional culture that value faculty, staff, and students. To maintain that institutional culture, we must begin to move beyond our crisis while promoting safety first for ourselves and our students. Together, we are strong and cannot be divided. This is a difficult time, and it feels fragile and unsure, to say the least. But I want to encourage us with something that Eleanor Roosevelt said. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. I think and believe we can do this. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Trustee Cavazos, for those remarks. I now have the privilege of introducing the president of the FAMU chapter, the United Faculty of Florida, Dr. Roscoe Hightower, who is a Centennial Eminent Scholar Chair and Professor of Marketing and Facility Management in the world-renowned FAMU School of Business and Industry. Dr. Hightower.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks to you, President Robinson. I'll be brief in my comments. I'd like to yield whatever remainder of the time I have to the question and answer session. But what I wanted to say briefly is that we at FAMU, United Faculty of Florida, are opposed to the increases in face-to-face teaching that is proposed by certain groups leading into the spring of 2021. And we aren't reaching this from a emotional standpoint. We consider ourselves here at the university scientists and researchers, and we make decisions based on data. And based on the data, uh, there's no clear indication as to how and why we're going to be able to maintain a healthy and safe work environment. And mind you, that our administrators and our leadership team are doing everything within their uh, purview to ensure the health and safety of the employees and students here. However, the facts are the facts. And the facts are that we are in no better position from dealing with the pandemic, coronavirus 19, than we were in the July timeframe when we were at our peak in dealing with this unknown and novel virus. So again, from a health and from a data perspective, we as FAMU employees have some serious concerns that must be addressed. And we're here, we're going to do what we can do in order to make sure that everybody on this campus is safe and healthy. And that stems from where we come from with the CDC stats. I believe that they say African Americans per 100,000, we have 108 deaths. As compared or contrasted to per 100,000 whites, they only have 45 deaths. Something's wrong. Something needs to be addressed. And again, the data says that this virus is aerosolized at this point in time. With that, things change. And again, we have a reopening plan, and it is a good plan as far as we can see thus far. But we want to be sure that our students, our faculty, and all the employees at Florida A&M University are in a non-threatening environment. And the key here is, again, we're in the same place that we were July's timeframe from the positivity rate of this virus. And why, again, why do we need to be increasing our in-person teaching? Second of all, who, what groups, what individual, who has come up with that? Thank you, and I yield back the rest of my time.
Thank you, Dr. Hightower, but you don't have any rest of your time. You used it all, and I appreciate that. but thank you for those remarks. But I do want to tell you that you'll hear from us during the course of this discussion this evening with some of the answers to some of those questions. So thank you very, very much. And one of the persons key to that is the person we will hear from next. So as we wind down towards the Thanksgiving break and begin to end this semester, we owe a great debt of gratitude to Operational Continuity Task Force led by Ms. Rika Calhoun. That task force successfully developed and guided us continues to guide us through our reopening plans, and has advised us appropriately when changes needed to occur, and using good data and good science as to why those changes needed to occur. So I want to thank that task force, Ms. Calhoun, Ms. Tanya Tatum, and so many more who have kept us informed and on task each and every day of this semester. And so you will now hear from Chief Compliance and Ethics Officer of the university, Ms. Rika Calhoun.
Good afternoon, everyone. We prepared for reopening on August 24th through the measured return of faculty, staff, and students. And mid-semester, we can see the benefits of our efforts, evidenced through the low rate of self-reported cases and the lower rate of positivity cases in our community. We have begun scaling up our existing processes for the spring semester, focused on a few key areas. So first is assessment. Managers must update their risk assessments based on the expectations of increased interaction with stakeholders on campus. And so those updated risk assessments will need to be due to environmental health and safety by October 31st. For training, we are going to still be focused on training in the spring. Every member of the university community returning to campus in spring 2021 must complete online COVID-19 training if they have not done so already. Students are enrolled in the training course through Canvas that they're required to take, and employees will receive a license from J.J. Keller for their training via email. Managers must inform me of the returning employees who will need a license. Return kits will also be available for distribution for those returning to campus for the first time in spring 2021. For those who are continuing from the fall, as you know, we have refill stations scheduled throughout campus for you to use. That'll allow you to refill your hand sanitizer containers. And if you are in need of face masks as well. We have stations for, they're called kind of kiosks for face masks to be purchased. Cleaning and sanitization protocols will continue, and they will scale up to meet the increased needs for our spring semester. Plant operations maintenance is currently advertising for 5 new staff to supplement the increased cleaning protocol, and will identify additional staff to focus on targeted high-risk areas. As a reminder, all members of the university community and individuals visiting our campus must continue to appropriately wear face coverings and observe social distancing guidelines that we have set here at the university and will continue to enforce. We talk about the fact that, we are all in this together, and adherence to these mitigation strategies is evidence of that. It's going to be incumbent on all of us to do what we can to make sure that we get through the spring, the fall, the rest of the fall and the spring semester. As you know, our reopening plan built in the flexibility to adjust operations based on the continual assessment of our environments at our main campus and locations, as well as our broader communities. Based on that continual assessment, we have been able to make some measured adjustments. For example, the university has been able to slightly relax our meeting restrictions, allowing university meetings for up to 30 individuals, provided again, appropriate face mask wearing and social distancing requirements are observed. To be clear, these things are important, and guidelines have been developed to assist faculty in the classroom as well. As important as the initial implementation is monitoring and the ability to improve. And we have taken that to heart and approached challenges that we've encountered this fall as an opportunity to set the bar higher for navigating through this pandemic. Of note, as you heard Dr. Robinson mention, is our partnership with Thermo Fisher Scientific, which allows us to double our capacity in PCR testing and processing as we move into the spring semester. Starting this fall, in fact, we'll be able to maintain our own PCR and rapid testing ability. So this amazing partnership supplements our existing COVID-19 testing site. Of note, there are no longer any daily limits on the number of individuals the site can assist. And that site is open from Monday through Saturday, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Based on all of these areas that I've mentioned, from preparing our facilities, preparing our people, tonight you will hear much more from our subject matter experts that will be able to answer any additional questions. The mitigation strategies and procedures that we have developed have put us in a good position to move forward, which we will continue to do in assessing campus density and campus events, all with the safety of our stakeholders in mind. It is so important that we, again, remember that this is a shared responsibility, and it is in our best interest to take the steps necessary to protect ourselves and the enterprise to ensure success. We look forward to finishing this semester strong and beginning an even better spring 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Calhoun. Provost Dr. Maurice Eddington, Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. William Hudson Jr., Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, Dr. Alan Robertson, Vice President and Director of Equal Opportunity and Labor Relations, Ms. Carrie Gavin, Vice President and Director of Athletics, Courtney Gaucher, Vice President of University Advancement and Dean of the School of Business and Industry, Dr. Shante Friday Stroud, and Assistant Vice President and Executive Director of Alumni Affairs, Ms. Carmen Cummings Martin, are all here and will share their expertise and answer some of the questions you've already submitted. And we'll begin with opening remarks from Provost Eddington.
Thank you, Keith, and good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to have another opportunity to provide some updates and information, as well as to provide responses to your questions. I'll first give some updates and reminders, and then I'll address some of the specific questions that were raised with respect to academic affairs. Reminder, all classes are going to transition at the Thanksgiving break to remote instruction. The final week, it will be taught remotely. Most final exams will be administered remotely, except for a small number of possible exceptions. The fall commencement ceremony will be virtual. It will be on December 12th at 10 a.m. We have not made a decision yet about the spring ceremony format. The spring semester will begin on January 6th. The first 3 days of the semester will be taught remotely for all courses. Spring break for the spring semester has been canceled. However, the spring semester will end 1 week early as a result of that. As you also have heard, we will be increasing the number of face-to-face course offerings in the spring while working to ensure that those classroom settings are set up to adhere to CDC guidelines as they are this current semester. But we will also have a full suite of remote offerings as well for the students. Now I'll take some of the specific questions that were submitted in advance. Will all of the course delivery modalities be placed on the courses in time for registration on October 26th? Yes, all of the academic units are working to complete the schedule. And when the schedule is released, it will include the modality of instruction. Next question, why is there not an early registration for seniors? Early registration for the spring begins on October 26th for all students. We did not create appointments because we needed to provide the departments with some additional time to plan for the spring in light of the increase in face-to-face course offerings. Several questions about this instructional mode called High Flex. And that stems from the name Hybrid Flexible. It's one of the modalities that will be used in the spring. And it's a format where the face-to-face instruction is combined with online learning. Each class session and learning activity is offered via the face-to-face in-person modality and synchronously online at the same time. So students have the option of being in the classroom with the instructor or receiving instruction remotely at the same time. And so in the spring, we will offer high flex courses, which will have limited in-person seating, but we will offer that in addition to our other forms of instruction. We will be providing discussion sessions and workshops for the faculty on this teaching modality in the coming weeks, and to discuss strategies to assist faculty with implementing that method, which is will be new for those most faculty teaching it. Since the high flex delivery method is new, will we introduce or explain the concept to students? Yes, we've already put a definition on the registrar's website, and we will be communicating with students directly via email and other communication mechanisms to give them additional explanation about the mode. This wasn't a question, it was a suggestion, which says it is sometimes better to speak with all faculty at the same time because some of the information coming down from administrators is not told in its entirety or it comes in a manipulative way. We do appreciate the suggestion, and I would say that one of the ways that the president, myself, and the leadership team try to address that is by taking a couple of different approaches, right? The president and I provide updates to the faculty directly each month at the faculty senate meetings. And I strongly encourage faculty to participate in those, even if you're not a senator. That's one of the ways that we try to communicate directly to the faculty. Another mechanism is what we're doing right now, is having these town halls so that we can speak directly to faculty and staff. And we've had a number of these, and we will continue to do that, as well as myself and my team, my leadership team. We have in the past routinely made visits to individual colleges and schools to speak to the faculty directly. And we're actually going to gear up with another round of those starting in November. And nursing will be the first one. And so we appreciate that suggestion, but we do try to do that on a regular basis. Next question, will faculty be surveyed about Canvas? Is there a chance to go back to Blackboard or ensure that we have all the capabilities of Canvas? We will not be reverting back to Blackboard anytime soon. We have adopted Canvas as the university learning management system, and we will continue to move forward with using it. We do encourage faculty to provide feedback to the Office of Instruction and Technology about suggestions on how we can enhance the user experience. So if there are capabilities that you want to see, please work with Dr. Fitz in her office. They will welcome that feedback. Another question, when will FAMU employ the 360-degree evaluation? Well, I can't say I am aware of a few cases in the past that approach has been used as part, in some ways, of performance evaluations. I actually was planning to use it last year with my Dean's Council, but we got thrown off track by the pandemic. But our plans are to incorporate that in the coming year in our evaluative process. Last question, can we hire undergraduate/graduate students to work in the lab? Graduate students are currently approved to work in laboratories provided the PI has an approved social distancing plan. As we move towards the spring, we will be allowing undergraduate students to return to the lab. Again, as long as the PI has an updated and approved social distancing plan that incorporates working with the undergraduate student, and the undergraduate student will have to complete required training. And that's it for the questions. Keith, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Provost Eddington. Up next, Dr. William Hudson Jr., the Vice President for Student Affairs, will share his thoughts on how his area moves forward for the rest of the fall and anticipates the start of the spring semester. Dr. Hudson.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I'm guilty this time. Thank you, Keith and Dr. Robinson. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending the Faculty and Staff Town Hall. I want to personally thank each of you for your service to our students. You epitomize the family mantra and help make the student experience positive. I'll be brief in my presentation, and staff will answer questions as you place them in the chat room. First, coming into the fall, our university housing capacity was 1,905. That's down from the 2,700, 2,800 beds that we have as we went to a single room occupancy only. The occupancy for the fall was 1,592 at the beginning of the fall. Now, the residence halls will close on Wednesday, November 25th, 2020 at 7:00 p.m. If students are not able to leave due to extenuating circumstances, the University Housing Office is accepting applications to request approval for an extended stay until December 13th, 2020 at 12 noon. Now, students must apply by October 30th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. and it can access the application on the housing website. Now, late applications will not be accepted. Students who are approved to stay beyond November 25th at 7:00 p.m. will incur an additional charge for their stay through December 13th, 2020, as the semester rate only covered August 24th through November 25th. The additional charge will be $653, and they'll reside in Phase 3, or $638 in Palmetto South. Temporary assignments will be made based on available space, and students who currently reside in Palmetto Phase 3 or Palmetto South will remain in their assigned space until they check out on December 13th. For safety reasons, all residents must check out and turn in their apartment and room keys by 7:00 p.m. on November 25th, unless they receive approval to stay due to extenuating circumstances. Also, in the spring. All residence halls will open on Monday, January 4th, 2021 at 9 a.m. and residents will be permitted to move in or return January 4th through January 9th. New residents for spring 2021 will be able to sign up for individual time slots via their FAMU email starting on Monday, December 7th, and access the welcome guide, which includes the valuable move-in information on the housing website. We will be doing appointments as well to adhere to social distancing guidelines. And finally, student services will continue via a combination of in-person services through the fall and through in-person services and remotely through the fall. And in the spring, we will increase face-to-face services as allowed by CDC guidelines and social distancing protocols. Keith, that's it for me. Turning it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Hudson. Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, Dr. Alan Robertson, is here to share his thoughts on navigating the rest of the semester. Dr. Robertson?
Thank you, Keith. One of the questions that we've been asked is, how is FAMU doing? What is our current financial condition, and what's going on with the budget? And so FAMU's financial condition is sound. We have the resources we need to achieve our mission and to weather the pandemic. The board and the president ensured that we built a budget that was flexible and that would allow us to pivot as a result of the pandemic and the uncertainty that it's created. The president also prioritized the preservation of jobs as a high priority right under safety. And so we have focused on that. And as a result, we implemented a strategic hiring process back in February, which has allowed us to control our spend and really look at a critical level replacement of positions. And so those are reviewed almost weekly by the provost, the president, and I, so that we can preserve jobs and so that we can have the resources to be able to pivot. We are currently under a 6% holdback that was required by the governor. The state has estimated that approximately 4.3% decline in GDP for the state for this fiscal year. However, a bright spot is that August general revenue collections were better than anticipated. And so we have a bright spot here as well. We built our budget on a anticipated 10% decline in enrollment. Dr. Hudson and his group beat that estimate, and we only had a 5% decline in student enrollment, which has helped. And then finally, the outlook for next year. With the holdback, we were slightly ahead of plan on net fees and revenue. We've revised or received $13.2 million in CARES Act funding, which was directly applied to student aid and institutional funds to support students last year. And our auxiliaries are faring pretty well and becoming and basically are still self-supporting. And so we feel that we can get to the other side of this pandemic if we keep focusing on efficiencies and budget adjustments that will, at the same time, cultivate diverse revenue sources. Our E&G budgets are calibrated, and we're going to begin, the Budget Council will begin reviewing budgets again beginning in November. And that's it, Keith. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Robertson. The Director of Equal Opportunity and Labor Relations, Ms. Carrie Gavin, is here to explain how the accommodations process will work going forward. Ms. Gavin.
Good afternoon. The Office of Equal Opportunity Programs are currently accepting applications for reasonable accommodations pursuant to the Americans with Disabilities Amendment Act. Any employee seeking an accommodation please contact the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs at 850-599-3076.
Ms. Gavin, there's some static
Okay.
in your audio. I mean, we can hear it, but it's
static.
tough. Yeah, it's very static.
Okay, let me just keep this short. You can contact our office at 850-599-3076 or contact our ADA coordinator, Ms. Sylvia Barge. You can access the form on the Equal Opportunity Program's website under the subsection COVID-19. Click on COVID-19 and the form is at the bottom of the page. It is the goal of the university to ensure the safety of each employee and student. Please note that we are receiving a voluminous number of requests for spring. We are working to resolve all requests as quickly as possible with the assistance of our employees and the managers. Medical documentation must be secured for all ADA accommodation requests. Again, if you have any questions, please contact the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs at 850-599-3076. Thank you.
Mr.
I'm
Miles.
going to ask Dr. Wallace if you could just clarify some of those key points, because most of us, we got a lot of questions about this in the chat room.
Sure.
So if you could clarify some of that, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. I'll reread her statement.
Okay.
The Office of Equal Opportunity Programs are accepting applications for reasonable accommodations pursuant to the Americans with Disabilities Amendment Act. Any employee seeking an accommodation, especially for spring 2021, please contact the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs at 850-599-3076 or contact our ADA coordinator, Ms. Sylvia Barge Miles. I'm sorry, Ms. Sylvia Barge, my apologies, at sylviabarge@famu.edu. You may also access the form on EOP website under the section COVID-19. The form will be located at the bottom of the page. It is the goal of the university to ensure the safety of each employee and student. Please note that the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs is receiving a voluminous number of requests for spring 2021, and they are working to resolve all those requests as quickly as possible with the assistance of the employees of the university and the managers. This, however, is an interactive process, which is designed to be engaging. So there will be, if necessary, some additional materials requested from the employees, some additional questions that may be asked of the managers so that we can best facilitate all these requests. So one thing that we would like to stress is that it is highly unlikely that there will be a one-day turnaround from the time the application is put in to the time that the request is made, because under federal law, we have to have this give and take that goes back and forth between the employee and the managers to make sure that we are able to give reasonable accommodations as required under the ADA. So if there are any questions, please contact EOP, or you can contact Human Resources, which would also have some assistance for employees, and that will be covered further on in this town hall.
All right, thank you, Vice President Wallace. That number again for EOP is 850-599-3076. I believe that is the correct number.
Correct.
So, okay. All right, well, we're all missing FAMU football this fall. In fact, this Saturday would have been homecoming. We're all hopeful that basketball, baseball, softball, and other spring sports will happen if we get a handle on this pandemic. Our Vice President and Director of Athletics, Courtney Gaucher, is here to give us an update.
Thank you very much, Keith, and good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to talk about the fall sports that were suspended, obviously due to the coronavirus. It has required us as a department to change and maneuver in a variety of different ways, but the health and safety of our student athletes is our #1 priority. And so this fall is a little bit unique. We are not competing but our student athletes are back here on campus. We have resumed conditioning and some workouts in some respective sports. Our student athletes are currently in a weekly protocol where they are tested weekly and required to maintain the appropriate social distancing, et cetera. So we are really excited about, obviously, the future of our program. And today, several of our fall sports that would normally be happening, those schedules were released from the MEAC today, including spring football. So even though those schedules have been released, there are still a lot of moving parts to this equation. For so many of our sport programs and our conferences may or may not participate. And so we are still evaluating those things and the opportunities for our student athletes to compete in a safe and healthy environment. One of the byproducts of COVID-19 is the additional year of eligibility that a lot of our student athletes will receive. And so during this time, we're trying to take advantage of any academic accomplishments that we need to aspire for in the classrooms and maintaining, that being a priority for our student athletes. Our basketball season is slated to start as scheduled November the 25th, and those details will be forthcoming. We are not planning to have any fans on campus at any of our home basketball games until January. At that time, we will reassess that with our campus community, our COVID-19 group, and make a determination on what that will or will not look like. For many people who have season tickets and Investing in Champions memberships, we are crediting everyone for the 2021 inaugural season in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And there will be more details forthcoming. So that money will not go to waste if you've already paid for those. And I encourage those who have not renewed their Investing in Champions to certainly do so. Many of you have asked questions about what we're doing for social activism and supporting our student athletes during this time. We have encouraged all of our teams, and as a matter of fact, I just saw a picture of our men's basketball team participating in a team organized early voting session. And so the Rattlers, we do vote, and we are taking advantage of that. We are encouraging all of our student athletes to do so. And the NCAA has even mandated that November 3rd be deemed a dead day. So there are no structured athletic activities, and we're encouraging all of our student athletes to rock the vote. Again, there are a lot of moving parts with the Department of Intercollegiate Athletics right now. As VP Robertson and President Robinson suggested earlier, that we are fortunate that we have not had to lay off any employees, but here in the Department of Athletics, we have taken salary reductions to make sure that we can make the ends meet through this challenging time for us. But the future of our department is very bright. Our student athletes have risen to the occasion in this face of adversity. They're doing everything with high character. They're participating in the protocols that we've set forth, and we couldn't be more proud of the adversities that they have overcome during this time. So again, that concludes the athletics report. And as always, as Dr. Robinson says, we need your support, and we need you to give until you go numb. The mechanisms to do that is the Rattler Athletic Fund. And so we're excited about the future. Please support our programs and our student athletes. And we couldn't do it without you, the faculty and staff. So many times, we don't necessarily have the platforms to thank you all for what you do for our student athletes and our staff to make our athletic program successful. And so I'd be totally remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to do so. We appreciate your commitment to excellence and serving our student athletes. Thank you, Keith.
Keith, if I could, I would just want to add one thing that Courtney didn't mention, but it should be mentioned. And that is, we're really, really proud of our football team, led by a student member of that team. They marched this summer, on behalf of social justice, and it was done the right way. They took all of our values into that march, march peacefully, respectfully, and so forth. And then, of course, one of the things that annoyed me this week is that I had the plan of being the first person in line at the polling station, but I was beat by somebody from athletics. His name will not go mentioned, but that's the only thing I have a problem with athletics thus far this week anyway. But I did, as I was leaving, by the way, I actually encountered members of the athletic team, basketball in particular. They were coming to vote, right? Very first day. So I'm really, really proud of our athletic program and their commitment to social justice as well as community service.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, A.D. Gaucher and Dr. Robinson. And that's a perfect transition to our next speaker, because fundraising has been a critical part of what we've been able to do during this pandemic. Our Vice President of the FAMU Foundation and Dean of the School of Business and Industry, Dr. Shante Friday-Stroud, now joins us to share what's been done and how those efforts will continue to support student success. Dr. Friday-Stroud.
Thank you, Mr. Miles. And I want to start out by thanking the faculty and staff. You all are very integral to everything that we do around fundraising. We truly appreciate all of your donations through the faculty and staff endowed scholarship campaign. And then for many of the faculty and staff who actually make donations over and above the faculty and staff endowment campaign. So again, want to start out by thanking you all for all you do, not only in the classroom, but also what you do outside of the classroom to help make it possible for our students to be in the classroom. And so just to give you an update on donations, we are again very thankful and appreciative of all of our donors who continue to give, individuals as well as our corporate donors. Also, if you know of students and they have to go through the deans of their school or college that are in need of laptops to help them navigate during this time of remote education and distance education, their names can be submitted to the deans and the deans can submit their information. We have a couple mechanisms. One is through the library where laptops can be checked out. And then we have laptops that were donated by Lockheed Martin for 3 specific programs on campus that can be, that are at the library. And then the others are through FAMU Cares donations from individuals and corporations. And those typically take up to 3 weeks to be delivered to the student. So we have been working to raise funds to not only ensure that students are able to gain some financial assistance to help pay for tuition, but that they are also able to have laptops provided if they need those. And want to make sure that if you have given, we again thank you. But as Dr. Robinson always says, and VP Gaucher just mentioned it, but that Dr. Robinson says, give till you go numb. So you can always donate at famurising.com. And we truly appreciate all the donations that come in to help support our students, not just now during these difficult times, but even more importantly during these difficult times. And I believe I'll kind of be quiet. I know Carmen will be sharing activities that are coming up for this homecoming weekend virtually. And so I'll let Carmen share those. So I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Miles.
All right, thank you, Dr. Friday-Stroud. Well, our alumni, in fact, are key stakeholders, and they've been extremely supportive of the university's efforts to navigate through these uncertain times. Assistant Vice President and Executive Director of Alumni Affairs, Carmen Cummings Martin, is here to share all of the things alumni are doing to help, and they've got some plans for this upcoming weekend. Carmen.
Thank you so much, Keith, and greetings, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Our Office of University Engagement and the University of Advancement has been on the move, even amid the pandemic, driving numerous virtual events that Keith and his team and our IT team have helped us coordinate to engage parents, many of whom are alumni, faculty, and supporters who have an interest in the health of Florida A&M University and how we are navigating. And I'm extremely thankful to President Robinson, some of our trustees, Trustee Cavazos and others, and leadership who have been a part of those town halls because they broaden the scope of the knowledge and offer a little peace of mind relative to the protocols that are taking place on the campus community. Most recently, we hosted a big 133rd birthday celebration for Founders Day, which included fundraising in support of VP Stroud and her initiatives and the National Alumni Association, and scholarship dollars raised as well, also support for athletics. But we also held some leadership summit workshops focusing on advocacy for Florida A&M University on the state and federal level amid the pandemic and ways that we could do that, and also creative recruiting strategies in our pursuit of the best and brightest students in a COVID-19 environment. And while there have been some alumni inquiries relative to one of our largest events we do in terms of advocacy in the spring, and that's FAMU Day at the Capitol, thank you so much to those of you who have inquired. It is on the radar with a tentative hold for the spring. And as Ms. Rika so eloquently conveyed, everything is contingent, as did Dr. Robinson, on the COVID environment. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Now, as we look toward the weekend, we know that Saturday would have been huge with culminating events and celebration of our annual homecoming. I know our spirits may be drooping some, but there is still reason to celebrate the Rattler experience in working with Director of Communications, Keith Miles, and his team, and VP Stroud and the University of Advancement. We are forging ahead to underscore the Rattler experience. Keith and his team are working to formulate a schedule, which should be out hopefully sometime by tomorrow. It includes a plethora of events highlighting great moments in the FAMU Rattler homecoming. Some of those events include a stroll to the polls that's going to be hosted by student leaders in the campus community early Saturday morning. Again, as I said, highlights of great moments of the FAMU homecoming experience will be streaming throughout the day on a number of social media platforms, sights and sounds of all the things that we enjoy about homecoming. An HBCU virtual tailgate is also going to be taking place. Highlights of the Big W, the homecoming game, Keith Miles, Move Those Chains, is also going to be among the commentators handling that on Saturday afternoon. And then we have a special salute, an HBCU salute, a virtual salute of the homecoming experience, which is going to be sponsored by Pepsi and Essence. And we'd like to invite you to tune in, but you have to register. Go to essence.com to do that so that you can be a part of that evening, in which a number of alums are going to be celebrated for their accomplishments, including some familiar faces in the FAMUnity, like the legendary basketball great, Natalie White, and one of our outstanding students, Ms. Jade Fryer. And so we invite you to get involved in that virtual experience. And finally, culminating that night will be a gospel tribute featuring a great in the gospel industry, Mr. Ty Tribbett. And guess who's going to be a part of that? The magnificent M100. So you got to tune into that. And again, Keith Miles and his team will have the complete schedule. So please remember, FAMU forward, forward ever, backward never. FAMU today, FAMU tomorrow, FAMU forever. So just keep positive vibes because we need you in the sustainability of FAMU. Thank you so much. Keep striking. Back to you, Keith.
All right, thank you, Carmen. Now it's time for some of the questions that you've shared during this town hall meeting. And remember, the recording of this event will be posted at famu.edu/virtual town hall for your review on demand. But one of the questions we got was, will the university do mandatory testing of students and of faculty as we move forward? And I'm not sure if Ms. Tatum is on the call, but that sounds like a question for Tanya Tatum.
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm on the call today.
Hey,
Right
Tanya.
now, we are not mandating testing, but we are strongly encouraging all of our students, faculty, and our staff to be tested as often as they need to, or as often as they feel like they have had any possible exposure. Those in the Tallahassee area are able to access our testing here at Bragg Stadium. We do now have rapid testing available, so individuals are getting their test results within about half an hour. And then I can assist anyone else who is in another location to make sure that they can find appropriate testing.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. And Tanya Tatum is, in fact, being recognized by HBCU Digest for all of her work that she's been doing with the COVID-19 testing site. And Tanya, congratulations. You certainly are deserving of that honor.
Yeah, but don't leave out Dr. Perry Brown,
Now,
her
Dr. Perry Brown as
co-awardee,
well. That's right.
who's being recognized, who was there really in the front lines of contact tracing,
That's
you
right.
know, and getting students and other faculty in the Institute of Public Health involved. So congratulations to both of you. I taped a video somewhere this week, and hopefully it'll be shown at the awards program. So congratulations. We're really, really proud. Good work doesn't go unnoticed. Somebody steals credit for it, but in this case, you got it. So.
Thank you, but it's been a big team that's helped put all of this together, so thank you all.
Okay, another question is, will we follow Florida State and TCC and close for 2 weeks for Christmas? That's an HR kind of question, I guess. And Sandy, I don't know if you want that question.
Good afternoon. Yes, I'll take it. So as the holiday season approaches, we again are pleased to provide our employees a well-deserved winter break. Now, what does that mean? To answer the question, we are not, it's not been decided yet whether or not we will have the same time off as FSU or TCC. So at the current time, the 2020 winter break will be observed during the period of Thursday, December 24th through Friday, January 1st, 2021. As authorized by the BOT policy 2005-23, this means that faculty, administrative and professional, including executive service and university support personnel, system employees will be granted 5 paid winter break days, in addition to Christmas and New Year's holiday. Now, those days will be observed on Friday, December 25th and Friday, January 1st. Due to the terms and conditions of employment, however, our OPS employees are not eligible for the 5 paid winter break days or any official state holidays. So the university will be officially closed at the end of the workday on Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020, and will reopen on Monday, January 4th, 2021. Now, the university community will be notified if the winter break is expanded beyond the 5 days. And Keith, that should satisfy that answer.
Okay, Sandy Smith Anderson from Human Resources. Thank you so much for filling that question for us. Okay, next question. Do we have contingency plans if we do not have a vaccine and the virus is on the upswing during the spring semester? And Tanya, you may want to take that one too. And also maybe Rika Calhoun.
At this time, there's no contingency plan because there is no vaccine available yet. I don't anticipate that a vaccine will be readily available until sometime later in the spring. And then it still may be only available to certain populations, such as first responders, individuals in nursing homes, and possibly healthcare. But once we have the vaccine that is available, the widespread, we will certainly make sure that we make it available to all of our consequence. So there's no contingency plan because it's not here yet. We still will be operating under our current guidelines and strategies that we have to help mitigate the transmission of the virus starting spring.
And I echo that. We have, based on our reopening plan, we continue to assess the environment through our surveillance efforts, our campus and our university, our community at large, what the environments are like there. And we use that information to help us either, adjust in either direction for the pandemic. And so there isn't any bright red line that will make us do certain things. It's a matter of consistently looking at our environment and pivoting to make sure that we're prepared and we're responding appropriately.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tatum and Ms. Calhoun for that. Now, this one is not a question, but it's a statement. And Carmen, I know when you talked about that big event with Ty Tribbett and the Marching 100, you also meant to say that the FAMU Concert Choir will be participating in that
Concert
also.
choir. That's right. That's right. Our legendary concert choir.
It is not the concert choir, it's the concert chorale. Please
Chorale.
get that right.
Chorale, because Mark Butler will be all over me. Yes.
Yeah, well, we're happy to shout that out. That's great news. And we're so excited.
Outstanding.
Looking forward to seeing that. This one's for AD Gaucher. How do we renew our Investing in Champions packages at this point?
Well, let's unmute ourselves. Very good question there, Keith. And that's an easy process. You can call the athletic department here and reach out to Associate AD Kevin Wilson. He can handle that, or contact the FAMU box office directly. And we will be glad to make that happen for any Rattlers or friend of Rattlers. And again, we need all the friends we can find right now. So spread the word, and we are open normal business hours Monday through Friday.
Okay. Question for President Robinson and maybe also for Vice President Robertson. Everybody's watching the revenue collections for the state of Florida and how revenue is being taken in for the state. How will that impact the state university system in terms of maybe if there would be job losses or cuts to budgets across the system?
Right, I don't have my crystal ball in front of me to predict what might specifically happen, but we already know, for example, as Alan mentioned, that there is a 6% holdback already that we factored into our existing budget. The idea was that we might get that back. We certainly would like to get that back, but we went ahead and budgeted as if we wouldn't. There has been a whole lot of talk about what might happen, across state agencies as a whole, including the SUS, if there is a shortfall in revenue for the state of Florida. And what are those implications for the SUS? We don't know. I mean, it could be a variety of things, right? It could be things that we've experienced in the past, taking monies out of CARA Forward. It could be direct cuts to specific programs, like performance funding and so forth, but those are highly speculative at this point. And so what we'll do is continue to make a case for how important it is to support higher education in the state of Florida, in particular at Florida A&M University. We have a well-conceived, legislative budget request that we've worked on together and our board has approved, and we've submitted. Those issues are just as important, if not more, now than they've ever been, or at least when we started that process, and we're going to continue to move forward with that. But I wish I knew the answer to what is going to happen. I will concede that there's a lot of speculation of what might happen, and I just don't know what that's going to look like until we get closer into the session. Like Alan said also earlier, we have a bright period. We just had one in terms of the revenue projection being a little bit ahead of what people anticipated. But at the same time, you can anticipate, based upon declines in tourism and so forth, that there might be some shortfalls as we move forward.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Robinson. I know that Dr. Maurice Eddington wanted to comment on the upcoming Thanksgiving break. So Dr. Eddington?
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, just we're getting several questions. I want to make sure everybody is clear for Thanksgiving that we are going to be provided with Wednesday of that week as well off. So Thanksgiving will include Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Okay, thank you, sir. This one may be for, I'm not sure who this one's for, but it's what's the status of the university's efforts in upgrading air circulation systems? And is there a list of buildings with updated air circulation systems?
I think Chris answered that one online, but Chris, if you're on, you can go ahead and answer it live if you're still with us. Chris?
Yes, good evening. I'm still here. Yep, I did answer it online.
Okay, great.
And there are over 60 buildings that are receiving the HVC lighting upgrades with the UVC lighting. Any building that has a multi-zone system where the air handling system serves more than one space, that system is receiving the UVC lighting upgrades. And for a specific list of the buildings, please reach out to the facilities plan operations and maintenance, and we can get you that list.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris Hessel there, and POM. Thank you very much. What's the location of the booster office to make those purchases, AD Gaucher?
So our athletic department offices are located on the second floor of Lou Bartley. Again, we're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. To 5 p.m. They can certainly do that there, or the FAMU ticket office, which is at the front entrance of the Al Lawson Center. So either location, we can make it happen.
Okay, thank you. Sounds like there's a lot of excitement gearing up around FAMU athletics, and that's good. Is the capacity of 25% physical capacity for classes the continued guidance in as we move towards spring 2021? And I don't know if that's a question for Ms. Calhoun.
Yes, so I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Yeah, is the capacity of 25% physical capacity for classes the continued guidance going into spring 2021?
So like we did in the fall, our POM and Division of Academic Affairs they're going through every facility and classroom to reassess what is going to be the appropriate percentage based on, or the maximum percentage based on social distancing and what classrooms can accommodate. So they will do that reassessment and adjust accordingly.
Okay. Dr. Hudson is about ready to go. He has a class to teach, but he's got a couple of questions that may come his way. So before he leaves, let me try to get him in. Will there be an in-person one-stop shop this January? And do we have any guidance on the ability to hire work-study students for spring semester?
Thanks, Keith. And there will not be an in-person one-stop shop for the spring. Typically in the spring, it's a lot slower. So we are going to continue with the virtual one-stop shop as students are returning to campus. Hopefully students will see their advisors prior to this term. Registration opens up the end of this month. So hopefully they will have signed up for classes prior to leaving or prior to the ending of the fall term. With the work-study students, we will have more guidance on work-study students and their availability in the spring. As we know, that is fluid due to COVID-19 and social distancing guidelines, but there are other mechanisms as well for students to receive financial assistance. If they would go to the financial aid website, click on the link that has additional financial assistance, we review each file based on the U.S. Department of Education guidelines for satisfactory academic progress and provide financial assistance to those students.
And I really want for all of you out there who might encounter a student in your class or in your service area who's having some financial difficulty, please encourage them to do what Dr. Hudson just recommended first before they determine that there are no funds available to support them. Please ask them to do that. Our alumni, they are giving. We have some CARES Act funds that we've allocated for these special circumstances, but we just can't hand it out without some structure associated with it. So the earlier they inform Bill and his team, the sooner we can make a decision as to whether or not they're eligible for the monies. And sometimes it's not just a matter of need. We know they have that, but it's a matter of being in compliance with Department of Education guidelines on financial aid and so forth. But please don't let anybody give up prematurely.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hudson, and thank you, Dr. Robinson. This one for Ms. Calhoun, once again, will the classrooms allow for 2 meters of social distancing between students?
So that is part of that assessment that, we talked about. Every classroom will be assessed for adherence with the 6 feet of distance. So if that means adjusting the capacity, but we have signs, right, that reserve the seats so that appropriate distance is allowable between our students. And so that assessment is being done between the Division of Academic Affairs and our POM. Okay. So yes.
Great, thank you. This one for Chris Hessel, once again. Chris, if you're still with us, how do faculty get more information about the UVC lighting upgrades? This person would like to know more about how this upgrade might mitigate the spread by aerosol.
Yes, I can get some information put together for the systems that we are installing. There's a lot of research out there on the systems and how they eradicate the particulate, especially the virus-borne particulate through the ductwork system. But again, if you reach out to the facilities, plant operations, and maintenance, we can definitely get something put together, and perhaps it might be beneficial to get something put together for the whole campus.
Okay. Thank you very much. And maybe the last question of the afternoon, is the campus open only to FAMU students at this time? Well, we know that's not quite right because some of us are working here every day. So
we do have a restriction on visitors to the campus.
Right.
I mean, if that's what they meant. Clearly, faculty and staff
are working,
are available, allowed on the campus within the guidelines and precautions that Ms. Calhoun alluded to. But also, we're not entertaining any group visits and things of that nature, and discouraging any casual visits to the campus as well, other than the fact that we're hosting, as I said earlier, a polling station. And I guarantee you, if you go to that station, you'll really be impressed with the social distancing guidelines, sanitization activities that they have in place at that station. It's really done extremely well. But, it is not, the campus environment right now is such that we don't feel comfortable with visitors on the campus, other than those who are here for that type of official business. So we have vendors coming and going, following guidelines, construction personnel and so forth, who are coming and going all of the time.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Robinson. And this will be our last question before we close out for the afternoon. Earlier this year, there was a 3% pay increase passed for state employees to be effective on October 1 of 2020. Will FAMU employees be receiving this increase?
Well, first of all, I'm not aware of an increase that went to state university employees. If it is, I must have missed that one, but But Alan, if you and your team saw it, please let me know. I did not see that.
President Robinson, that was a 3% increase for agencies, state agencies. It was not for the SUS, state university system. And so we were not a part of that.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's a good, solid answer to that question. So we really appreciate all of the questions that came in. We appreciate and all of our panelists for answering the questions. And now we'll close out this afternoon's virtual town hall with closing remarks from President Robinson.
Well, thank you, Keith, and to all of you who have participated this afternoon. And for those of you who provided questions, and please remember, this is being recorded and it'll be available for some of your colleagues who didn't have an opportunity to join us live this afternoon. So I want to thank all of you for doing it. I do want to reemphasize that your buy-in is critical to our continued success in making this campus environment safe during these very, very difficult times. And as you can see, as we talk, there are changes in the number of cases of COVID-19 as we speak. And so we encourage you, whether you're on campus or not, to keep the safeguards in mind. Don't let your guard down. Abide by the 3 W's. Wear a cloth mask over your nose and mouth. Wait 6 feet apart. Avoid close contact, and make sure you're 6 feet apart at all times. And then wash your hands or use hand sanitizer. Remember that practicing these steps not only protects you, but your family, your loved ones, your coworkers, and others. I want to thank all of our panelists today for sharing their respective expertise this afternoon and assure everyone again that our highest concern is for the health and safety of the entire FAMU family. It is our responsibility, our collective responsibility to protect the family, as you can see portrayed behind me, something I take very, very seriously. And I am extremely proud of how we worked together throughout this semester, working through a very difficult time, not just in the history of FAMU, but in the history of the world. And the things that we do, the steps that we take will be talked about for generations to come. I think we are laying the foundations for a great story to be told about how we came together as a family at Florida A&M University to protect ourselves and those that we love. We will continue to get through this together. I'm entirely confident in that. As we celebrated just a few weeks ago, 133 years, we have faced tremendous challenges in the past. This is one of those, but we will get through this. Thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and please be safe. Thank you, Keith.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Robinson, and to all of our panelists for participating in this afternoon's virtual town hall for faculty and staff. Your respective leadership and work has propelled FAMU into the national spotlight and how we have responded to this pandemic and showcasing all of the great things that happen at FAMU every day. Let me thank once again the FAMU Institutional Technology team, in particular, my friend and my brother, Mr. Michael Simmons, for his technical support of this event and all of the virtual town halls that we've been working on, and to the Office of Communications team for your continued due diligence and hard work and all of the contributions to this meeting today as well. And one last reminder, again, the town hall meeting recording and frequently asked questions list will be posted and archived at famu.edu/virtual town hall for your review on demand. Thanks again for joining us today, and we hope you have a good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good evening.